Welcome and welcome back to our core techniques and our last video in our core techniques section. In this video, we will be creating a radial bar chart in Tableau. We will be using data densification and leveraging various table calculations in our bespoke data visualization. Now, a radial bar chart sounds quite simple and is quite common. You can see it all over the place these days. However, it has a special significance for me, as it was actually the second blog I ever wrote in Tableau, and it's still one of the blogs that are the most read on the Tableau Magic website, which, I have to admit, still surprises me, but hey. But this visualization, this bespoke visualization, will test you in several ways, from the data prep, from the various calculations. It will also introduce ranks, and essentially pull everything we have learned together into one concise visualization that is actually pretty clean. So, without further ado, let's have a look at our data. So, as with our previous data visualizations, we are using data densification. So therefore we have 2 rows per metric or per dimension. So in this case, country. We have 4 countries in total, which means 8 records. The value, same for each country. So United States will have 2 records, both with value 100. However, the path will be from 1 to 271. The reason being is that we don't want to draw a complete 360 circle. We want to draw 3/4, which is 270 degrees. So take a moment, create this data set in your spreadsheet, notepad, or any application you desire. Pause the video if need be, but when you're ready, let's copy this data set into Tableau. So copy. Nice and quick. Let's clear this out. Let's start the densification process. Right click on path, go to create, bin, and set the size of the bin to be 1. Let's go on and create our index. So our index calculation with index -1 because we want to start at 0. Perfect. Let's start creating our circles. So create calculated field. Let's put X in there. Sine, radians, and index. Essentially the same formula we use for our circles as well as our packed circle charts. So that's our X. Apply, OK. Now let's create Y using cos, radians, and index. Again, the exact same formula. Let's press apply, cos, radian, index. Let's press OK, and let's get straight to plotting. Take X onto columns, Y onto rows. Let's turn our type to circles. I always use circles because you can see it slightly better, especially when you're building bespoke visualizations. I always convert it to line or polygon afterwards. However, let's take path bin onto detail. Let's take country onto color because we have multiple countries. And now let's edit the table calculation. Right click on X, compute using, path bin. You can see densification in action. Right click on Y, compute using, path bin as well. And as you can see, we have the circles up and running now. Canada, Hong Kong, United Kingdom, United States. However, what we want to do now is use a rank function to rank these countries, and based on their ranking, multiply by the number. So instead of 1, you'll have 2, 3, or 4, but let's just do it and you can see what we're doing. Firstly, we need to create a Windows Max wrapper for the value. So I'm going to right click on value, go to create calculated fields. I'm just going to call this TC country value. I'm going to wrap this around with a Windows max and a max function. So essentially we are going to adjust it so we'll pick the maximum value for each country, and we will be able to use this in our calculations because it's a Windows function. Let's click OK. This is where we're going to try something new. Right click on a blank space, create calculated field. I am going to name this TC table calculation rank. So what we're going to do is apply a number or generate a number based on the ranking of each country. So let's rank. You have 4 options, but we're going to choose unique. I'm going to put in TC country value, and I'm going to set this to ascending. You're ready? Click apply. Okay. So now we have a rank per country. I want to apply that to the actual circle. A bit like what we did with our pack circles. We want to expand the circle size based on the rank value. All I'm going to do is multiply by TC rank. Yes, it's that simple. Don't worry if visualization goes haywire, it's perfectly fine. TC rank. Lovely. Now this is where things are slightly different. I'm going to go to compute using path bin, and I'm going to do this for X and Y. As you can see, it's not quite what we want, and again, hashtag Tableau art. It's because right now you have a X value that is not dependent on one, but multiple table calculations, and each of them can have their own settings. So what I want us to do is right click on X and go all the way down to edit table calculations. As you can see, we have a pop-up, and you can see that X has 3 nested calculations in between. So country value, we can leave it at the path level, that's fine, but what I want to do is change the TC rank. So what I've done here is just take away path and just added country. I want to do the same with Y. Index, leave it as path bin. Country value, again, leave it as path bin. However, rank, I want to have it by country. And there you have it. So, United Kingdom, Hong Kong, Canada, and the United States. So we are getting there. We've created our outer layers now. All we have to do is to assume or take a percentage of the 270. So what we want to do is find the maximum value for any of the countries within the state visualization. So that will be the United States. And then what we want to do is allow the United States to be all the way through to 270 degrees and have 270 be 100%, and the rest of the countries will be relative. So how are we going to do this? We need to create another calculated field, and this time I'm just going to call it TC max value all countries. So as you can see, this is exactly the same as TC country value. However, when it comes to our edit calculations, we will modify this. So let's click apply. Brilliant. Now the last thing we need is a percentage. So now we have the max value that we're going to assume is the US. We are going to divide the country value by the max value to give us a percentage. So therefore the US will be 1 and everything else will be lower. Calculated field, TC underscore percentage TC country value divided by max value all countries. Again, you can name these however you want to. I used to use WC for Windows calculations, now I use TC. I'll probably change it in a week or so. Let's click apply. Okay, so now that we have a percentage value, how do we apply it to our calculation? And this is how we're going to do this. If you look at our calculation right now, what I want to do is shrink the index, because index currently goes from 0 to 270. I want to multiply that by the percentage. So therefore that would shrink the value itself. So for the US, the outermost layer, it would be 1, so there will be 0 difference. The rest should shrink. So I'm applying this to X, clicking OK. And like I said, do not worry too much when everything disappears. It's quite common when you're dealing with building bespoke data visualizations. So we've got the percent. And again, it's saying we have nulls because the data densification, the compute using, has not been applied to percent. So we are going to go there. Right click on X, go to edit table calculations. Rank hasn't changed, however now you have max value. All I want to do is select both on the X, and boom, it looks like we have liftoff. For consistency, I would also apply the same to the Y object. Select both values. And now here we have it. We have a data visualization where the outermost value represents the largest country. Everything else is relative, but as you can see, it still does not look visually appealing. So let's work on the cosmetic side of this data visualization. First things first, change the title. For some strange reason, and again, arbitrary, all my sheets are blue, all my dashboards are red. I have no idea why I came up with that convention. What I want us to do now is hide the headers, because we don't really need to see this number. The end users don't need to see it. Right click on your data visualization and go to format. I want us to now hide the grid lines. The grid lines are gone, the 0 line. I think there's also a light line here, so let's see if we can find that. That's gonna be somewhere. Oh, apparently it's not. So, almost there. What I want us to do now is change it from circle to line. Do not panic. Remember what we have to do. We have to leverage the path. So drag path bin onto path itself. Beautiful. I want us to now increase the size. Can you see? It's looking like we're getting there. Now what I want us to do is take the country, drag that onto label. I want us to click on label and select line ends, and I only want the label at the start of the line. There we go. I now want to do the same thing by taking value and put it onto label as well. As you can see, we're building up this visualization. Like I said, one of the key aspects of bespoke data visualization, no matter how it looks, the looks can help people. It can help attract people to your data visualization, but you want the data there as well. So there's no confusion, there's no complaint. Let's click on label, edit. Let's put these on the same line. And let's increase the font. I think 12 will be good. I'm also going to turn the value bold. Here we go. Okay. I want to increase the size a bit more. Now I want to modify the tooltip, because right now, as you can see, we have all the values we need. We don't actually need a tooltip. So let's hide it. Now, as you can see, we have our very own Radial Bar Charts, a bespoke data visualization, perfectly dynamic. And yes, this closes off our section on core techniques, because if you could build the following, a radial bar chart, you can build pretty much any other visualization you require. It just requires pen, paper, a bit of design thinking, but I'm sure right now we are going to go on that journey and we're going to do great. So let's review. In this video, we created a radial bar chart in Tableau. We used densification. We introduced the rank function. I would encourage you to explore that because it's pretty nifty and I use it quite frequently. We used index. We also had two calculated fields which were exactly the same in content. However, when we used edit table calculations, we modified how those table calculations worked. So we used the TC country value and the TC max value for all countries to work out a percentage, which we use to manipulate the index value. This again will become clearer and clearer the more you do. The key now is that before we round off the chapter or the section, we have a lot of exercises that I've put into the course. Please take your time, go through them. At this moment, you've gone through more than what most people would do on the Tableau Magic website. We've gone through explanations, we've gone through details, and we've built up. So now when you look at those articles, really think about the why question and really improve your understanding. And once you've done that, move on to the next video, which is our summary, and then get ready for design thinking. Look forward to seeing you then.